On this week's MaliceCast, the quest for 100 takes over. Bcon and the Big Papa Matt are trying to watch 100 films in movie theaters in 1 year. This week they talk about Upgrade, Hotel Artemis, Incredibles, and they even put all the Ghostbuster movies on their tiered rating system. Let us know if they're right or if they're wrong and where you would rate everything in the comments below. If you like what you hear here, make sure to head over to Stitcher and iTunes and look up Quest for 100 to catch all their previous episodes, because friends don't let friends quest alone.
This quest sucks. We're gonna quest around.
It's too late.
Watch 100 movies and break them down. My Karate Kid intro, yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
Well, it's not
Very good, very good.
All right.
It's not terrible. Yeah, we're live on Twitch.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Zora up in the chat room
Respect.
already.
Look at IC
He was waiting for us.
hanging out.
Stocky.
Knowing where the good show's at.
All right. Well, I guess we'll kick this off. What up, everybody? Bcon here from Malice Corp, inviting you in to the normal. If you came here for MaliceCast Live, you came to the right place. However, you get a special treat tonight because we are going to give you a live episode of the Quest for 100. So I'll introduce who's here, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do tonight. So with me, as always, the one, the only, the epic beard himself, the Big Papa Matt.
Yo. How you doing, B? My brother from another mother. How's life, bro?
Good, man. Can't complain. I saw some movies, so I'm back on track.
Good for you. Good for you. I'm proud of you for that.
You're still working on it.
I mean, we're getting there eventually, so that's all that matters.
One way or another, we're getting to 100. Believe me,
Absolutely.
it's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
I have faith in you too.
Yeah, and that wonderful voice. You saw him a couple weeks ago with the Nerd Mosh Pit takeover. Nick, say hello, Nick.
Howdy, y'all. From Texas.
From Texas.
Oh, man, you had to
Howdy
say-
from Texas.
Only someone from Texas would say howdy from Texas.
I don't even think you need to
Hey,
say
I'm
from
the
Texas.
odd one out.
You could have guessed.
Everybody else is from Cali. I'm the only Texas boy.
No. We're representing red states with Idaho over there.
Yeah. The reddest in the. Yeah. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about movies. So if you've never had the pleasure of questing with the Big Papa Matt and I'll tell you what it's about real quick. We're on a quest to watch 100 movies in the theater this year, 2018. I'm currently sitting at 48. I think Matt's somewhere around 40-ish. We need to be at about 50 movies at the end of June. So I think we're going to make it. Summer just hit, so we got a lot of movies that dropped.
It's gonna be a lot of marathoning over this next 2 weekends for me to get there. It's gonna be rough, but I'm gonna do my best.
So usually we jump on and we talk about what movies we've seen. We started a rating scale. So what we're going to do tonight is we'll go over our rating scale with you, just so you have an idea of when we talk about what a tier 1 movie is, what a tier 2 movie is. You guys have an idea. We want to hear from you in the chat room as we talk about different movies. You give us movies that you think fall into those categories. So even if it's an old movie, one of your favorites from 30 years ago, you can call out and say, you know what, this is a tier 1 all day, every day. So we'll go over movie ratings. Then we'll talk about some of the movies that we've watched recently. Then we have a special tonight. We're going to talk about all 3 Ghostbusters movies. So Ghostbusters 1, 2, and then the all-female cast remake. We're going to talk about those and rate those, along with our wonderful, wonderful Twitch chat family that's going on right now, it is popping already. And then we'll wrap up with talking about some upcoming summer movies and what we're anticipating. Does that sound good, Nick? You on for
Sounds
that?
great.
All right.
I'm
You good,
on.
Matt?
I'm in, and we're doing Ghostbusters talk tonight so that we can try to avoid Nick Cage. Oh wait, too late. We already did.
Uh-oh.
You know what would have made the all-female cast Ghostbusters better?
More Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I admit it would have made it better.
He makes everything better. He's like adding salt into a dish. It makes it better, no matter what it is.
Just a little bit. Drop a little seasoning, some little Nick Cage seasoning in there.
He's the bacon to your eggs.
Little expired meme action there.
So, Matt, why don't you kick it off with, let's go through that tiers. The tiers. Make sure Nick, did you get a chance to listen to our last episode?
No, I have not listened to the last episode yet.
Good. Then we're gonna educate you on how the Big Papa Matt and I rate movies on the Quest for One.
Educate away.
Go ahead, Matt.
Absolutely, and Red Meatball also with the good shout out there. More Chris Hemsworth would have helped also make that Ghostbusters better, which I do not disagree with at all because he was fantastic too.
100% agree with that. We'll talk about it.
So our tiered system. So how we kind of rank movies. Bcon and I, we are definitely nowhere near like movie experts, or do we consider ourselves critics? But what we want to kind of do is put movies. We generally gush about a lot of films, or we talk a little sour about them. So we try to put them in a little bit of a tiered system. So our first tier is like legendary tier. Like nothing gets in that level. Like it is so few and far between of anything that ever hits that top level 1 tier. Tier 2 is going to be like your great movies, your all-time greats, the ones that like come on TV, you can't help but watch them. You got to sit down, wherever they're at, your Shawshank Redemptions, things like that you just can't stop watching them. They're turned on.
Yeah.
Your tier 3 is kind of your general bucket. Like this is where a lot of the movies that we watch that we really enjoy go into. These are great films. You should definitely go see in the theater and are always going to be worth a good watch and worth your time. Tier 2 are going to be those films where they're definitely going to be or tier 4, they're going to be worth your time to watch. But the thing with tier 4 movies is that there's nothing you need to go and rush and see. They're definitely going to probably be for some, maybe some different kind of niche groups or something like that, but not something that's maybe for everybody or that everybody's going to enjoy. And then our tier 5, those are just going to be movies that we are not going to be able to recommend. They're definitely for somebody. They're definitely going to have an audience somewhere out in the world, but nothing that our show that we want to recommend to you in our hopes that you're going to, enjoy what we recommend to you, and those tier 5 films are not going to do it. So shout out to Super Hoovy and SYL Barefoot joining in, and Jack dropping more amazing knowledge on us about wrestling Big Boris the Bear and other things like that. So good on you, man.
Shout out to SYL Barefoot too, who could not unfortunately make it on with us tonight. We're missing you, but glad you could jump in and chat with us. Absolutely wonderful to have you. And like I said, you make everything better. So I love me some Nerd Mosh Pit. I love me some Nick, Kenny, and Matt.
There you go.
Kenny, we miss you already.
We miss you already. It's this, it's a little less sweet.
Well, he said Boris too, and that just kind of made me think of
first.
Yeah. So that's the tier system. So in the chat, if you have some movies that you're like, oh, I know a tier 1 movie for sure, throw it out to us. Give us some ideas of movies that you've seen maybe this year or that you just are some of your all-time favorites and where you think they rank on that scale. Tier 1, all-time great movies, classics. Tier 2, great films, must-sees. Tier 3, good, not great. Tier 4, just okay movies. And then that tier 5, can't really recommend. So make sure you throw those out. Let's talk what we've seen this last week. I know Matt has seen a bunch of movies this week. I think you actually saw more movies than I did in this last 7 days since we last recorded. But I'm interested, Nick, have you seen anything recently?
The most recent movie I saw was today.
Oh, nice.
On HBO.
All right, well, what'd you see on HBO?
I watched Fahrenheit 451.
Oh, bro, I'm halfway through it. I got halfway through, and it was like 1:30 in the morning. I was about to fall asleep, and I was like, I gotta stop and come back to it. But I'm interested in what you think of Fahrenheit 451. I know Matt's seen it. I love to get his take on it, and I'll give my take on what I think so far in the first half.
All right, so my take is I absolutely love that Michael Shannon and Michael B. Jordan are the stars in the movie. That is the high point. Other than that, it strays away a lot from the book. I wish some of this literature in the book, especially towards the end, was portrayed in this movie, and it wasn't. It was entertaining, but by no means was it tier 1. and I wouldn't say it's tier 2 either. I would say it falls more in line with tier 3.
Yeah, but that's honestly that's where most movies fall. You know, that's not a bad place to be. Tier 3 is a good place.
Absolutely.
I did go in there probably with a little bit higher expectations because I enjoyed the book so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be a reason why I might be partially biased to the fact that I did not enjoy it as much as I thought I would. But overall, having Michael Shannon in there and also Michael B. Jordan was a saving grace of the film, because without those two in there, it wouldn't have been the same.
What did you think, Matt? Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah, Fahrenheit 451 for me, I liked some of the updates they gave us as far as turning into some social media aspects and kind of showing what kind of freedoms we give up for some of the things that we participate in with social media and some of the access we get to having the internet at the tips of our fingers, you know. And I like that they kind of updated some of that story to make it a little bit more relatable for the newer generations. The book was fantastic. I love the book Fahrenheit 451. Definitely one of those first books where I was kind of, you know, this is something bigger than just the story being told. The movie didn't quite hit those heights. We were lucky to have such amazing actors and actresses in the film, but other than that, it was kind of a soggy bottom of a movie. Tier 3, right there as it should be. So
Like I said, I'm halfway through. I just actually re-listened to the audiobook, probably like 3 weeks ago. So the story is super fresh in my mind, and they definitely take a different kind of path on the characters from the story. What I did love about it is I thought they caught the essence of the world, of the universe that Bradbury creates in the book Fahrenheit 451. It felt like they caught the essence of that place in the future that holds this story. Aside from that, I'm not quite sure what I think about the characters yet, because I'm just not far enough to where the story hasn't turned yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to give away, especially if someone hasn't seen it. The story hasn't kind of taken that next turn in the story. So I'm still in the developing of what's going on with Michael B. Jordan's character and Michael Shannon's character. So I'm interested to see how the rest of the story plays out. I'll probably get to it actually tonight, because I'm not interested in finishing it up. But that's an example, folks, in the chat room. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat that we'll catch up.
Yeah, we've got tier 1 stuff to see out there. Ian is dropping some like crazy left podcast called God Awful Movies. So there are some wonderful. They're actually wondering why we don't have like a drop dead bottom tier of something that is
that's a good question.
Awful, right? So I would like to take that over if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So for us, man, we really want to make sure that, you know, we're being a little bit more positive. You know, like we said, we're not movie critics. You know, we don't know some of the and films and things like that really kind of get into that minutia of what a lot of film critics do. And for us, we really do feel there is a movie for every person out there. Every movie is made for somebody, and you know, we can't everybody's opinion. So this is a little bit more of a generalization ranking for us. If you guys want to throw something in the bottom cellar dwellers, feel free to do it. You're more than welcome to. We will gladly shout those out for you. It sounds like you guys are having way too much fun taking shots at Twilight and Blood Freak from Icy Zorro. So.
Yes. Yeah, and that's kind of the thought behind why we even started Quest for 100 is Matt and I genuinely love film. We love the film industry. We love watching movies, but even more than that, we love like actually the experience of going to the movie theater and watching a movie in the theater. So this is kind of out of a heart of wanting to support the movie industry and specifically watching movies in the theater. So that's kind of where that came from. And I think I can speak for myself, but having watched so many 48 movies now so far this year in theater, you start to really appreciate even the worst movies that we've seen this year. We've seen some bad ones.
Have we ever? Holy goodness!
You begin though to take a different level of appreciation for the craft that's actually still happening. So we've talked about some movies that we didn't love that were our tier 4, tier 5. Like an example would be like Ice Age. Not Ice Age. Sorry, Ice Age is a great movie, actually. Early Man. I'm sorry. Early Man. Not the greatest movie, but it had some amazing redeeming parts to it, including the animation style. Some of the story elements were really good, and actually a lot of the voice acting was spot on. But it's not something that we would recommend to go out and necessarily spend time on. Maybe wait till it comes out on HBO or go Redbox it when it comes out. So it's still a movie we would say definitely watch it, especially if you're into really good animation. But it's kind of like trying to find the redeeming qualities in every movie, because there's a reason that movie was made, and there was a lot of time, effort, and sweat and blood that went into making that film. And so we don't want to like torch on that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have one of our first tier ones. 2001: A Space Odyssey was Pride In's, which I'm there with you, Pride In. But also, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is getting shouted out right now as a tier 1.
Very great film.
I think it's a phenomenal film, and I think it's just quirky enough to sneak its way into that tier as a legendary film.
I agree, because I'll be walking like through my house, and somebody will have it on a TV, and I'll hear one of the songs, and I'll be like, "Oh, what?"
Soggy Man?
I'll like run in and sit down and watch it.
Great soundtrack.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing soundtrack and amazing acting, great story.
Was
that's an all-around killer movie.
Yeah, I loved the that kind of new age take on the Odyssey. I mean, it was just absolutely phenomenal. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It was killer. We also had some people are wanting to ask where Snakes on a Plane falls, and Empire Strikes Back is also a tier 1. Which Jack, a good place in our heart is always bringing up Empire. So I'll have to agree with you on that.
Star Wars.
I would also put New Hope, Rogue One. Those 3 Star Wars movies to me are all tier 1s. The rest are probably going to fall into a tier 2 category.
Rogue One
same
would get
here. I agree with you,
for
Bcon.
me. Rogue One would be the only other one I'd get up in there. New Hope would have to fall into 2, unfortunately.
Like a high 2.
Super high 2. Maybe.
Yeah, it would have to be a high 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And on maybe another day when you catch me with a couple of drinks in me, I'll put it back into a tier 1. But
Love it.
But this is where our Star Wars bias kicks in. So
absolutely, a little bit.
New Hope is tier 1.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
We can all agree that Episode 1 is easily a tier 4 or tier 5. Yeah.
Which New
Hope? Episode 1. No, Episode 1.
Episode 1. The Phantom Menace.
I was about to say, hold on. I have to put my argument pants on but yes, Episode 1, Phantom Menace. I'm gonna go tier 4 just because the pod racing. That's the only reason it gets tier 4.
All right.
And the lightsaber battle at the end I thought was pretty cool with Darth Maul and Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, anytime we get to see Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon throwing down some lightsaber, Darth Maul gets me into a tier 4. So.
All right. True story. I'm good with that.
Yeah, Shawshank, I want to agree with you in the tier 1. I really do.
Tier 1.
Man, it's so amazing. I don't want to comment on Shawshank right now.
I could probably put it in a tier 1.
It probably deserves a tier 1, just like.
Has anybody brought up like the Godfather?
His way out of there.
Oh, the Godfather? Yeah.
Someone brought up the Godfather. That's definitely tier 1.
I couldn't put
1, tier 2 for sure.
It's tier 2 for me.
Like solid tier 2.
Yeah.
Solid tier 2. Yeah, for sure.
Jack, oh man, dropping Rogue One down to a tier 3. I'll give you that, dude. I'll give you, or tier 2. Okay, he corrected himself.
Okay,
too. I saw that. All
okay,
right.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm into that. Jack.
But that's good. This is a good conversation to have, because tier 1 should not be an easy like slam dunk.
Absolutely.
That's a tier 1.
Yeah.
No about it. I mean, it's an exclusive category. We were talking last episode, Nick, and what we were saying is kind of like your tier 1 movies are probably only like maybe 3% or less of the actual movies that you've seen. I mean, it is an exclusive club. But on the same note, tier 5 movies are equally, there's only maybe like 5% of movies that are going to be that bad, that unlikable. Most movies are going to fall into a tier 3.
Yeah,
like 10%
right.
you know.
And anything that we can really find some great redeemable features of something really fun in there it's got to get pulled out of the tier 5 and get into those tier 4s. So like B said, those bottom tier, that top tier, those are really elite clubs. And just because you're a classic and you're something amazing, doesn't mean you get an automatic entry into this world. We're gonna hold those gates strong to make sure it's just not a welcome party for everybody. So oh.
Let's talk about what we've seen. We'll just go through this list real quick and rate them, and then we'll get into some talk about some Ghostbusters and kind of continue this dialogue of where do movies rank. So in the chat room, get ready for some Ghostbusters talk. But in the meantime, we're going to talk very quickly about some movies that we've seen recently. So since we last talked, we've both seen Action Point. We both watched Hotel Artemis. I watched Superfly, Adrift, and this morning I caught Ocean's 8.
Nice. Yes. So Hotel Artemis, also got to see, like talked about Action Point, but I also watched Tag and Incredibles 2 as well. So
and then you got to
see both of our and Upgrade. Upgrade was Upgrade. I want to talk about Upgrade. I want to talk about Hotel Artemis. Action Point, I'm gonna immediately throw that in a tier 4 area. It was one good nut shot away from a tier 5. But other than that, I have nothing really redeemable to say about Action Point, unfortunately.
No, refresh my memory. Which one is Action Point?
Action Point's Johnny Knoxville's new flick with the theme park.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And it is exactly what you expect it to be. So that's where I went into it with pretty low expectations. I'm like, it's going to be Jackass at a theme park, and that's pretty much what you got with very minimal.
That's the problem, though. You didn't get that. You got 20 minutes of that in an hour and 35 film, and I wanted Jackass in a theme park. I wanted to see Johnny Knoxville let loose in a crap theme park, and I did not get that. So
honestly, no, I want to hear if you think this too. Because did you stay to not the very end, but just as the credits started rolling, it showed a couple extra scenes?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought those scenes were like the funniest part of the movie.
They were way better. And I don't know why watching Johnny Knoxville get absolutely knocked out cold for 20 minutes is funnier than anything that happened in the film. So, I wish Action Point was better. I really do. And yeah, no, I love. Oh, we have to talk about this real fast before we go on for the new stuff.
Yeah.
But Rocky Horror Picture Show, where would you throw that? B. Nick.
For me, it's a 2.
It's a 2. Okay.
I mean, it's
low. It's a low 2.
Low 2. All right, we're in the same boat though. I appreciate you guys for making me feel good about that one. So
yeah, it's not a 1 for me, but that's a for me. I could absolutely totally understand why some people might put that as a tier 1 for them, like absolutely 100%. And I wouldn't really like care to argue with them about it. So.
Yeah. And I think IC brought up a great point. Loves Rocky Horror Picture Show, but not something he'd watch all the time. And I think that's a great reason. Yeah, 100%. It's a good job.
Yeah, that's exactly
my thoughts exactly.
Oh yeah. So yes, Pride, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Incredibles 2 as well for you there in the chat, dude. But Upgrade. So real fast.
Yes.
Upgrade.
I want to hear your opinion of Upgrade.
So Upgrade for me was something I really liked the world that we were placed in with Upgrade. The biggest things that kind of hurt Upgrade were some of the jumps that we had in that film. I'm not going to give away too much. Unfortunately, one of our mess, the 5150, as you all know him as our soon-to-be, hopefully, ex. No, I'm just kidding. He'll always be the host of this show.
He's been hard-wicked.
Ooh, we're not going to talk about that guy. We shouldn't even mention his name. Honestly, could care less. But one of the things was for Mess, he kind of talked about the ending. He mentioned something that goes on in the ending. I'm not going to say that. I'm not even going to say the word towards the ending. But what I really, really enjoyed about that film is it kind of took us to a new place. It took us to something a little different. And I really, really enjoyed the acting, even though I recognized maybe one face in that whole film. Right. So I do recommend it. I do think it's a great film. It's not anything amazing over the top, but super solid tier 3. Highly recommend people going. If you can find Upgrade in the theater, I do recommend going and watching that.
Yes. completely 100% behind that that take on it. I think that was mine last week as well. It is a solid 3.
Oh.
And I'm going to say something because I think it'll be a good segue to talking about the next film. I thought it what would have helped upgrade is just a little bit more time. It's an hour. I want to say it was an hour and 45-minute movie.
Hour 40. And here's the thing.
40.
Normally, one of my reviews, usually a lot of the times, is like, it was about 20 minutes too long.
Mm-hmm.
Upgrade, I needed 20 more minutes.
Yes.
And I'll agree with you 100% on that. Absolutely.
And,
I 100% agree.
And I'll say, I'll start my next review by saying I thought the same thing of the next movie we're going to talk about.
Yeah, Hotel Artemis. Yeah, for sure. I would have loved to have been in that world a little more. And what was really cool at Hotel Artemis, and I told you this one, B, but what I really liked about Hotel Artemis was it reminded me of being in that same kind of uber technology, very criminal oriented, like Escape from New York type world.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the world we got placed in with Hotel Artemis. I wish we had a little bit better character development. And that was a movie, if 20 more minutes of following around Jodie Foster, following around Batista, following around even Jeff Goldblum, who's in the film, would have made that such a better film. But I really liked the characters. I thought Sterling K. Brown, the guy is just phenomenal. Like, he just cannot be stopped. He's one of those guys right now that's on one of those rocket ships that just is not stopping. Yep. And he made this movie better just by being in the presence of that film. Unfortunately, one of the people I was most excited for to see this movie with was Zachary Quinto, and I felt he took away from the film. He really hurt the movie. He hurt the movie's pacing. And for me, it dropped it from what would have been, I think, a tier 2 to a tier 3 for me.
Oh, don't put that all on Zachary Quinto, man.
Well, not all on him. No, some of the other things I mentioned before.
Wow.
We need some more character development.
That's harsh.
Yeah, we definitely needed the more character development.
Yeah, a lot for someone to carry there.
Yeah.
Jack talked, he mentioned, is it the same world as John Wick? No, it's not quite that world. It's definitely much more of like a apocalyptic world. Like I said, kind of more that Escape from New York type feel. And that was one of the things I really wish they'd explored, because you heard them talk about, like, this is LA, this is Mr. LA, the Wolf Lord of LA. Yeah. And then at one point they talk about this is Detroit. And I'm wondering if, like, every major city has like a crime lord that's ruling it, and I wish we would have been able to just dive into that world more. And
it did kind of lead you to, you knew that there's these hotels, I'll just leave it at that, these hotels in multiple locations that are ran by other people for the specific purpose of taking care of
bad guys,
criminals. Yeah.
The club, it's a club that they pay admission to. So
a couple things I want to say about the movie. One, there's something going on this year with, and this is a shout out to our other podcast, one of our other podcasts, Malice Corp Smack Talk. Which is a WWE, not just WWE, but wrestling cast where they talk all about wrestling. Wrestlers this year are killing it in the theaters, in my opinion. The Rock, John Cena, and Batista are just lighting it up, man.
100%, absolutely. Batista crushes it in this movie, by the way.
Everest, one of his lines, I'm not going to give it away, but he says a line to me that is one of my favorite lines in film this entire year. Can I say it?
Absolutely. I think it's great.
Right?
Yeah.
So he basically says, read the name tag. It says I'm a healthcare provider. That knowledge goes both ways. And something like, get out of here. And if I see you back here again, I'm going to chase you down and I'm going to unheal the shit out of you.
And I'm going to unheal the shit out of you.
It's amazing line.
I think it's what every priest in World of Warcraft or any MMO has always wanted to say to their tank is this is healthcare. I'm making a new healer named Everest, and I'm going to just macro the hell out of that as I'm running through dungeons. Like, I will unheal the shit out of you if you don't do what I need you to do. So,
yes.
Welcome for the bleeps on Twitch.
But Jodie Foster killed it. Sterling Brown killed it.
Absolutely.
I would have loved, and they did a really good job with Jodie Foster's character with giving us a lot of her backstory. I thought that's what we needed for the brothers, for Sterling, and I can't remember the actor that plays his brother, but the two brothers needed more background. The female assassin needed more background on her. Yep. And I thought, and maybe even some Wolf King background.
Yeah.
If we had given me 20, maybe even 30 more minutes and given me a solid more of a backstory on those three, honestly, that for me that would have put it into a tier 2.
Just
The world is so
5
amazing.
minutes for each one of those characters,
Yeah.
like they kind of did with Sterling Brown's character at the very beginning. Just give me 5 minutes for each one of those characters at the same moment of how they got into that hotel. That movie jumps possibly to a tier 2, 100%.
Yep. But I'm excited for what I think that there's going to be more. I think they're going to do more in that universe. So.
I just want more in that world because I miss movies like Escape from New York. And this, I felt like I was ready for, and that was maybe my thing with Hotel Artemis is we didn't have a Snake Plissken at all. Like we did not have that character, and maybe we needed that character to come on in, smoke some cigarettes, talk some trash to a higher up, and be that guy. But we didn't get that. So, wow, we are getting a lot of we're asking Johnny Depp, The Matrix. Where would you want to throw that movie? I don't know. That's
Edward
a good question.
Scissorhands. Wow.
Edward Scissorhands.
Well, which movie?
I went Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, Edward Scissorhands, yeah.
I'd go 3 with Edward Scissorhands. It just doesn't hold up very well anymore. I've tried to watch it a couple of times, and it just doesn't hold up for me.
I agree. It's a 3. I mean, but remember, folks, 3s are not bad.
No, 3s are great. Yeah, 3s are really good movies.
Edward Scissorhands was not revolutionary, like by any means. It wasn't something that you like always think about when you think about great movies from the past. Edward Scissorhands does not come to mind.
Tier 1 Johnny Depp movie, Platoon, mother bleepers, Jack Malice.
Platoon is amazing.
It's a really, really great flick.
May I add one?
Yeah.
That I think might be Fringe. Blow.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Fringe.
I can't. Blow is really good with Johnny Depp. I was a big fan of it. It might sneak into tier 2 for me though. I don't know if I could get it even close to a 1.
Yeah, it's definitely not a 1 for me, but it's a 2. What about Goodfellas? Where's Goodfellas?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. Like Goodfellas is definitely one of those flicks that I watch every time it's on.
If it comes
too
on,
good.
I watch it. For me, it's a 1. Like the acting, the cast of it, the story, and I love a true story too.
You do.
I love a movie that's based on a true story. For me, that's a 1. For me, it's a 1. But I can see where some people might be like, it's a 2. And I would, again, this would be a 1 where I wouldn't try to argue with you over it. But for me, it's a 1.
Yeah, man, Goodfellas. Once again, I think it's one of those ones where, like, right now, I'm going to go as a 2.
It's so hard.
But if you caught me with a couple of whiskeys or something in me, and I was feeling,
or if the movie was on, you would probably be like,
absolutely. I would probably throw it in a 1 if it was on right. If it was on right behind me, and I had those characters staring at my back, looking at me like that, I'd probably Ray Liotta talking in the background right now would probably make me throw that into the tier 1.
So,
yeah, for me, it's a very high 2. Goodfellas.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, and I see you want to say, man, Super is throwing out all kinds of Johnny Depp flicks. She is on a run with some Johnny Depp. I know who her high school crush was.
All of ours. I'm gonna make a segue.
Grape.
So you were just talking about Blow. I'm just gonna make a quick segue. Superfly is definitely the Atlanta version of Blow.
Okay. No, and I probably thought it was. I figured it's something like that.
But it's a 3. It's a tier 3 movie. It's not very often that I go to a theater and I'm the only person in the theater. And it was me and my buddy, and we were the only 2 people. We were the first 2 tickets sold for the movie. And it's a tough week to come out with a movie like that. You are in a tough spot to drop right in the middle of Ocean's 8, Incredibles 2, Hotel Artemis, Tag, all these other movies. It's a tough spot. Especially
when you don't have that big actor in the movie right now. Like, you have a lot of great up-and-comers right now coming into the flick. But you don't. Now, you do have the one guy from The Wire who's phenomenal.
Yes.
There's a bunch of rappers that are in that.
You don't have that big, huge name like some of these other films, and I agree with you. It's kind of a pun not intended, I should say, but it's kind of that murderer's row of films right now where you just have some big movies that have been really hyped up for a long time coming out. So
it's tough to crack, that that especially, and it's a very niche genre. I mean, it's about cocaine dealers. I mean, it's not everybody's gonna enjoy that type of movie.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to probably see it.
Trevor Jackson is the like the main star, and I will tell you, like, he freaking killed it, dude.
Nice,
amazing acting job. And the soundtrack is awesome as well. So
nice.
I'll believe some redeeming qualities, and acting was superb in that movie.
If you got great music, you got great acting, you probably have a great film. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, especially after your recommendation. Any tier 3 I'm willing to check out right now, especially when we're trying to fill holes for that Quest 100.
Dude, sure.
But once again, real fast, we are brought to you by MaliceCore. This is our MaliceCore site. All these movies we've been talked about in the chat channel. Goodfellas, Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, Platoon, anything Johnny Depp, Gary Oldman, all of these phenomenal films. Go and check them out through our Amazon link through malice-corp.com. Help out the site. Help give us a plug. We really appreciate it. And yes, Red Meatpaw, Tag is out. Sing Street's phenomenal too. Red Meatpaw, I just saw that. I would throw Sing Street in it too immediately because I love that film. I'm a sucker for those little Irish kids. Nice. So, what else did I watch this week? You got my list, right? I got it.
Didn't you say Tag?
Oh,
yes,
Tag.
Let's talk about Tag.
So Tag. So
I'm gonna see it tomorrow.
Here's the thing with Tag: is you're kind of sitting through the movie, and the whole movie you saw in the trailers already, for the most part.
Right.
You've already seen it. You've already seen the movie. If you've seen the 8-minute trailer, you've seen the movie. What's really kind of cool though is they do have a couple of really good moments of where Jeremy Renner is kind of breaking down what's going on and how he sees it and how he's exploiting these guys and all these different things, which makes it really fun. What the best part about Tag though is one, shout out to Super Hoovian, John Hamm is not hamstringed into a character. Not pun intended with hamstring. But the last couple of minutes of that movie actually pull out some really big heart in the film, and it does have a really awesome payoff for that movie. And what I have to say about it is it may not be the greatest journey that you've ever been on, and it is kind of goofy and it's kind of there, but man, the ending does have a really nice payoff. It does kind of give you that warm and fuzzies. And you definitely walk out of that film with a big smile on your face. Everybody does a great job in there. Hannibal Buress, I have to say, if we're talking about, wrestlers having a great year, Hannibal Buress is having a killer year. And he crushes Tag as well. It was freaking awesome. So nice. I'm gonna give Tag not a top tier 3, but definitely a nice solid tier 3 movie. It's going to be a good time. It was no game night. It was no blockers, but it's definitely you're going to walk out of that theater with a big smile on your face. So I definitely recommend checking it out with other people in the theater and having some laughs because there is some good stuff in there.
Good deal. I saw. So let's see. I'll talk about the next 2 that I saw, and then we'll kick it back to you. Adrift. I keep saying I love me some true stories.
You do love.
I love it, dude. I love nonfiction. With that being said, this movie is freaking super depressing.
Oh no!
Holy hell, dude. It's got some great elements to it, right? I mean, it's survival. It's like the strength of the human spirit, and all these wonderful qualities. In the characters who are real people, which again, that's one of the reasons I love it. The acting, you only really had you really have the 2 main actress and actor, and then there was 2 other side ones. So it's you really had those 2 on film the whole time, and I thought they acted the hell out of that film, man.
Nice.
With that being said, though. It only makes a tier 3 for me. And I don't know why. I honestly can't really explain why. It's just one of those gut feeling it's a tier 3. But it's a good tier 3. I mean, it's definitely worth watching, worth seeing, especially if you're into catching up on true stories and things like that. It is sad though. It's a little
Simon
bit of
Birch sad.
Simon Birch.
Is it that sad?
No.
I don't think anything is that sad.
No.
That was a rough one.
Okay.
No. All right, and then the last one I just saw this morning. I saw Ocean's 8. Anne Hathaway, by the way, is amazing. Like
there is something about her. She is like a fine wine, and boy, is she getting better with every single movie she does.
Yeah.
I actually like that movie
agree.
Colossal she was in, except the whole movie was awful except for her. She was really good in it.
So, kind of along that same theme, I'm not a big fan of the Oceans franchise to begin with. So I'm going to start by
Neither am I.
I think those who are a fan of that franchise would probably rate the movie higher because I think it's probably a really good inclusion into that franchise. I think it holds its own amongst the other Oceans movies. Again, I don't love Oceans, so for me it's a 3 though. I don't think it didn't fall into the 4 category for me. It had great acting in it. Those women did a fantastic job, dude. I'm just not big into heist movies, so for me it's a good movie. It's worth watching, it's worth seeing, it's worth your time. You'll enjoy it, you'll have fun, you'll laugh a little bit, and you'll definitely appreciate some excellent acting.
I kind of agree with you, Bcon, as far as with the Oceans movies, and Matt as well. You said that you didn't really like them that much. I was always a bigger fan of the Italian Job versus Ocean's 11.
Heist film's a heist film for me, man. I don't know. It just doesn't do a whole lot for me. And here's the weird thing about it. I really dislike heist films, but one of my favorite Marvel films to this day is still Ant-Man, and that had a very kind of that heist moment kind of feel to it. So I don't know. I'm not a heist movie fan at all. And Lucky Logan was great because they had phenomenal acting in it, was how I like that better than Ocean's franchise. I see.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to the last couple that you had, and then we'll get some Ghostbusters going on.
Also, man, we got a lot of Anne Hathaway love, which I love seeing that from the chat channel.
Yeah,
Pride and Super Who, Red. I thank you all so much for
I
giving
want
us love. She deserves
I want
it.
you to give me your 1-minute review of Hereditary.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I want you to give me your 3-minute review of Incredibles 2.
So so Hereditary. Here's the best part about Hereditary is everything you've seen in that trailer. If as long as you haven't seen any trailers that have released after it released, every single scene from the trailers in Hereditary were from the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Okay, cool.
Nothing was done after some of the really, really big seminal moments of that flick. And what was really nice about Hereditary is you went in there with a very, everybody knows it's this really creepy kid whose grandma dies and, some weird things are happening around her. It's creepy. Toni Collette is so phenomenal in this film. I cannot tell you how great she is. But what really tripped me up about Hereditary is it takes a move and you don't know what's going on, why it's happening, is it real, is it not? And damn, at the end of the film, you're just kind of sitting there looking around like, did everybody else see that? Is no one else going to say anything? Because I'm not going to ruin this moment because it has got a really, really nice finish. Even though I wish there were some more in-depth parts, some different moments, and it took some turns I wasn't expecting it to take. I wish it would have maybe stuck a little bit more with what I was hoping it was going to be. But a satisfying film, excellent piece, tier 3 for sure.
Okay.
Creepy moments in there, super. There's not many times that a whole theater jumps at the exact same moment and you feel the ground shake when everybody lands in their seats. But Hereditary does it at least twice, and it wasn't a cheap.
That's pretty cool.
Either. It wasn't a cheap jump either. It was a and then just quiet for the next 5 minutes as we're all trying to absorb what the hell just happened.
All right.
Epic.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend going and seeing Hereditary. I can't put it in higher levels, but it's a good movie to go watch.
I was pushing it to the back burner. I didn't think it was going to be just honestly, like most of the
it's
scary movies this year have not been good.
it's no Quiet Place. It's definitely, and it's way better than like Winchester was. It definitely steps its game up from some of the scary movies that have come out this year.
Okay.
You know, there were some bad scary flicks this year, but it was no Quiet Place by any means, but it was solid. It was solid.
All right, right on. Well, let's
Yeah.
check it out.
Much better than The Purge, by the
Okay.
way. So.
Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2. So Incredibles 2. Man, okay, so here's the thing. So first of all, before we lose all of our viewers, you can follow us at the Quest for Movies, Nerd Mosh Pit, at MaliceCast, at MaliceCore. Check us out. Check us out on Amazon, because I feel like I'm gonna have a very dissenting opinion of this film. I'm not the biggest first Incredibles movie fan. I liked it. It was good. Incredibles 2 was mediocre at best. There's one really hilarious, adorable scene in Incredibles 2. The rest of the film, I was kind of annoyed by it, honestly. There was a lot of back and forth between some. It didn't hit me well. I did not enjoy it much. Not Pixar's strongest flick that they've had.
And you're a fan of the original, right?
I am, but not. It's not one of my favorite Pixar films. I liked the first one. I thought there were some really cool moments. I love that it's what it did for like superhero films and family films and things like that. I love some of the art and where it kind of took animation. 15, 14 years ago now. But the Incredibles 2, the sequel, it is less than illustrious in my
Doesn't hold
opinion.
up to the
Yeah.
first.
I couldn't believe that movie came out 14 years ago. The Incredibles.
That's
Yeah, however long it's been, 2000.
No, it's 2004.
2004. Yeah, there you go. So yeah,
that's good, because I'll go in with lower expectations and see that's
I recommend everybody go in with a little bit lower expectations. Be expecting a tier 3, and it'll probably jump it up for you.
Yeah.
I am going to put it. I almost want to put it in a tier 2, but it wasn't that bad. There were some good moments in there.
Were you saying you were going to put it in a tier 4?
Oh, tier 4. Yeah, I was probably going to put it in tier 4. Honestly,
Man, if it was tier 2, then it was awesome.
Yeah, I was honestly probably going to put it in tier 4, but I'm going to throw in a 3 just because I know what those animation crews and everything did to get this film out when they got it out, and hearing some of the things that they got to take care of in this film were fantastic, and I love the story behind it more than I actually like the movie.
Okay.
Brian had the first Mr. Incredible's job as an accountant like that, or as insurance, I think is what it was. So I feel for you, Brian. So I'm sure you have a special place in your heart for good old Incredibles. And like I said, I'm trying not to start a riot. And I'm glad to see we're still holding strong at 11 and 12 viewers. Thank you all for not abandoning us. I was afraid we were going to immediately plummet to 2, would just be me, B, and Jack on there. So,
well, I think we're not gonna. I don't think we're going to have time necessarily to get to summer movies, which is fine because Matt and I will talk about that on next cast. But I do want to spend some time talking about Ghostbusters, and I think that's a great way to kind of wrap up this evening. I think everybody, the chat room for sure, is like on point with how this rating system works. So
you guys are knocking us out the park.
We're gonna throw out the classics now. 2 classics and a newer version, right? Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, and the new Ghostbusters. So we're gonna talk about those, and I can start if you want.
I'm gonna let Nick go. Actually, I would like to hear.
Yes.
I'd like to hear Nick's take on this.
All right, so we're starting out with Ghostbusters 1.
Ghostbusters 1.
All 3, yeah.
I'm gonna have to do Ghostbusters 1 as a high 2 for me.
Okay.
It's not gonna get tier 1, and the reason why it gets a high 2 is because that movie came out when I was really young, and I saw that when I was really young, and I loved it. I still love it when I see it come on today. It's more of a nostalgia factor, but Bill Murray is one of those guys that, I mean, I pretty much like every movie that Bill Murray's in.
True story.
I mean, and then the Marshmallow Puff Man.
Stay Puff.
Yeah, Stay Puff. I mean, those are classic, iconic scenes, and it's definitely can't be a tier 1, but we're talking about an iconic movie, something that was probably one of the biggest movies in all the 80s. The most recognizable theme song of maybe movie history. Everybody knows the Ghostbusters song for the most part. And that's the reason why I give it a high 2. Ghostbusters 2, that drops into that low 3 category for me.
Not a big Vigo fan.
Not, yeah, I didn't.
Vigo the Impaler. What was it?
I don't remember.
Whatever.
I just
that would be a low 3.
Okay.
And then the most recent Ghostbusters, that would be kind of a low 4.
Gotcha.
I just didn't care for it as much as the original crew.
Yeah.
It just wasn't as just the other two. I mean, especially the first Ghostbusters was more on point with their delivery as far as the jokes, and just the storyline in general is just much better, much more solid. It's just that the most recent one, I mean, that's the worst one of the 3. It's still entertaining. It's by far not a movie that I watched and was like, oh my God, I immediately regret my decision that I watched that movie. Entertaining, but low 4.
Okay. We are getting a lot of different opinions on Ghostbusters in the chat room right now. We've got tier 1 for the first film. We've got everything from tier 1 to tier 3. And everything from tier 4 to tier 6 for the newest one. So looking forward to seeing what you think, B.
So last time we talked, I had not seen the new one.
Oh, what did you rank the newest Ghostbusters as, Nick? I'm sorry.
Low 4.
Low 4. That's right. Okay. Gotcha.
Low 4.
Sorry, B. Go ahead.
So Matt threw out this challenge, and I hadn't seen the new one yet. So I actually, and this is kind of cool. So the original Ghostbusters came out last Friday. So it's a shout out to their anniversary.
I didn't even know that, honestly, when I challenged you to it. I love Ghostbusters that much.
Well, it's kind of cool because you challenged it. That was Thursday night that we recorded. We turn around Friday. I watched all 3. And I didn't even realize it was Ghostbusters Day, and it was like
awesome.
Freaking awesome, dude. So I started by watching the new one. And I will admit, unlike Nick, I did regret watching it. I actually turned around and watched 1 and 2 to wash the taste out of my mouth from the new one.
Wow.
With that being said, it is not a tier 5 for me. It is a tier 4, and it makes a tier 4 to me for 2 very specific reasons. Leslie Jones kills it. I really love everything she does. I love watching her on Twitter and just reading her tweets while she watches.
Leslie Jones is unapologetic about how amazing of a human being she is.
She's awesome.
She has a powerful personality.
I love it. So
good. And Kevin like makes that movie, dude. Holy hell, dude.
Do you like this photo of me playing the saxophone or listening to the saxophone? I love that. I cried at that moment in the theater when that came out.
He was so good in that movie. Like, oh my God, dude. Like, I was laughing just so hysterically because of him. With that being said, like, I hated Melissa McCarthy in the movie. Did not care for her. Did not care for Kate McKinnon. Didn't really. They just didn't do it for me. It was like. So the great thing about Ghostbusters 1 is you only had one person cracking jokes. You had Bill Murray cracking jokes, and that was it. It was very balanced in its serious scientific almost approach, right? With Ray and Egon, and then you have Bill Murray like cracking the jokes to kind of lighten the mood.
Yeah.
This was just, it was like every other thing was a joke. And that's what killed the movie for me is it just didn't do it for me. So it's a 4. Ghostbusters 1, solid high tier 2. You could convince me to put it in tier 1. I think you could probably talk me into it, but it's definitely a tier 2. Arguably could be a tier 1. Love the movie. Ghostbusters 2 for me is a 3, and probably a low 3 because there's not enough Winston in that movie.
Okay.
Sorry.
There you go.
It's not the original Ghostbusters.
I see. Thanks for fact checking for us, dude. Vigo the Carpathian is
Thank
our
you.
Vigo. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you on that one. And we're still getting.
So we pretty much agreed on that first one.
We're getting a lot of people
Yeah,
all
Nick, you
over
and I
the place
are
with these. Here's the thing. So you guys agree on tier 2 with Ghostbusters 1, and I think you are all both of you are terribly wrong. It is
Okay.
a tier 1. It is 100% a tier 1 film because it does something that so few movies fail at doing, and it's something that we really haven't been able to get until since the 80s. And this was kind of an 80s thing, and it really only happened with maybe Gremlins was one of the other films, but we had a film that had comedian actors in it that was actually a phenomenal acted film, that had horror, that had scary moments, that had thrills, jumps, all those different things, but still did almost everything correct. I honestly, that film right there, Ghostbusters, was, and I'm a little rose-colored glasses. I'm gonna admit I'm a little biased towards it, but Ghostbusters 1 is absolutely tier 1, legendary film. If you stuck me on an island and I could only have one film the rest of my life, the first Ghostbusters is absolutely it.
I'm okay with that.
Rick Moranis, I
Yep.
mean, just amazing in the film. Bill Murray at his absolute best. But here's the thing: you guys are missing the best part of this. Sigourney Weaver, man.
Oh yeah.
Sigourney
The girl.
is my woman, the
First
love of my
crush.
life. Between her and Princess Leia, young Matt was made a man with these women. So I love them both so much. Absolutely. I cannot say. I struggle to let people try to convince me that there's better movies out there than the first Ghostbusters.
Okay.
I think
I'm
Rose
okay.
from Star
Yeah.
Wars is going to be jealous, man.
And I'm totally okay
She
with
should
that.
be. She should be. She should be jealous because Sigourney Weaver wins every time. So, even though I love me, I'll Katie or Marie, whatever her name is, I can't think of her right now, Kellyanne Marie, who, by the way, is getting a lot of crap on the internet right now, and I feel bad for her. She's actually quit social media. Shout out to Kellyanne Marie. You're way better than everybody out there who takes it out on you. Because it was not your fault that movie was that bad, or that they think it was. You are a phenomenal actress. Keep up what you're doing, and keep being amazing, because you are a super amazing, positive person. And that's enough for my Kellyanne Marie rant. Second, Ghostbusters 2.
Yes.
Tier 3. Good film, not great film. I kind of liked the slime thing. I liked the pink slime when they're yelling at it in the courtroom and screaming at it and calling it names. They're making it dance later on in the film. Good stuff. I liked it. Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters. It is a high 3, early 2 for me for a couple of reasons. First off, once again, I have very rose-colored glasses, and anything you would have given me Ghostbusters at that time, I probably would have loved. The thing is I'm a huge fan of Kate McKinnon. I'm a huge fan of Leslie Jones, and I thought those two did amazing, amazing things in that film. I love what the women did in that flick. I really enjoyed them bringing that back and trying to keep a great feel for that film. And Chris Hemsworth was awesome. I thought he was a great compliment to there, and I love the gender swap with him and Annie Potts.
Yeah.
I dug that. I really did. So for me, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, that SNL crew with Kirsten Wiig crushed. And you know what? Melissa McCarthy, people can say what they want to say about her. I honestly think she had a little bit of a better job in this film than she's had in a long time. And I'm actually looking forward to some of her stuff later this year that she's going to be a little bit more serious in. I think it's time for her to break out of her slapstick role and pull a bit of a Jim Carrey on us and hopefully get some serious stuff, get some better acting in there. I'm looking forward to seeing what she has to come because I think it's time for her to get out of those shoes.
So where did you rank that?
I'm giving it a tier 2.
Oh my!
2. Yeah, I'm giving it above the second Ghostbusters. Wow. Yeah.
We always say friends don't let friends quest alone, but brother, you're gonna have to make that quest on your own, man.
I highly disagree with Matt there.
I will say, I think I would have been okay with Kate McKinnon's character if Kristen Wiig played a little bit more serious, and if Melissa McCarthy wasn't in the movie. I would have been okay with. I would have been okay with her quirkiness, the quirkiness of that character, because there wasn't any other like I said about Ghostbusters 1. It was balanced because you had Bill Murray cracking jokes, and everything else was serious. And this one was just like laughs the entire time, and Leslie Jones ends up being the only serious person in the movie. You know,
no, and I think Leslie
much,
Jones was doing just as much as anybody else. And here's the thing: this will be a great debate for our show on Quest for 100. It will be a continuing theme, I feel, because I really did like what they did with Ghostbusters 2. And like I said, I liked the fight. I liked the different style phaser weapons or the photon weapons. I loved so much of what was going on in there. And honestly, like I said, I did see it with a little bit of rose-colored goggles on that, because I remember hearing the music that they redid and remastered from the original with Ray Parker Jones. I can't think of his name right now.
Sounds familiar.
Ray Parker Jr. I don't know why I said Jones. Ray Parker Jr. But hearing that music, hearing those sounds, like it brought in those nostalgia feels. I mean, it made me enjoy what I was watching that much more, because I loved how they recreated so much of those things that were still familiar to me, which I really liked. So I really did enjoy it. Yeah, I see you. I'll give you that as well. That not that song, but just some of the remixed music, not the Fall Out Boy version. Sorry, stop crushing my dreams, bro. Stop crushing me like that.
I'm actually not too surprised that you almost gave it a 2. I'm really not surprised.
I liked it. I really did. I was calling people up, and I was like, dude, it's way better than you think it's going to be. Maybe I went in with really low expectations, and I was afraid of how they were going to ruin this franchise. And I thought they did a great job. I thought they did I want more of the new Ghostbusters.
So like I said, I can get behind, like, the story's good. You said the gadgets are good. All of that was fine. Like, I didn't have a problem with the ride. What I had a problem with was, like, the amount of jokes that were in the movie.
Yeah,
it was
sure.
like,
I'll give you that.
Ghostbusters, the third Ghostbusters, is a comedy. I wouldn't classify Ghostbusters 1 and 2 necessarily as a comedy.
Okay.
Does it have comedy in it? It does, but it's not genre comedy.
Yeah, it's not slapstick by any means.
No.
I'll give you that.
And they made it that, and that's what disappointed me. That's all I'm saying. Like, and I think could Melissa McCarthy have done a different character if the writing had been written that way? Probably. And I would have loved to see them, like, take that stance. But I just felt like it was catered to maybe it was catering to the SNL crowd of, like, we're going to put these, these amazing comedians in here and let them go with it. And it just, I don't know. I didn't like that vibe. But that's the only complaint I will say I have about the movie is the jokes.
And you're totally fair to say that, because, and like I said, there's only a couple of movies that have ever mastered that balance of scary horror type films and having laughter on them. And like I said, Ghostbusters, the original, is that guy.
Yep.
And then also, like I said, I think Gremlins mastered a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
And I think those were released in the same year. I think those were both like 1983 or 4 or 5, maybe something like that. They were all released in that time period.
Goonies kind of had a creep.
I want to say 82.
Comedy too.
Yeah, and Goonies, rather than being in the horror side, and that kind of stuff in the ghost vibe, they kind of did the action adventure vibe of it, right? But the comedy came because you had great characters.
Yeah.
And that's what was really nice about the first Ghostbusters film. And I think you're right. The newest Ghostbusters, they made a comedy film and tried to sprinkle in some ghost stuff.
Yeah.
Where, and I think that's where a lot of these movies miss, like Club Dread, one of the most highly sought after sequels with Broken Lizard after their Crusher Super Troopers and Beer Fest. And they screwed up Club Dread for the most part too, because they could not balance that horror and comedy. They tried to make a comedy flick with some horror aspects instead of making a great scary movie with just really good actors and great lines in it. And I think you're right. I think, some of the people in this, or in the chat room especially right now, is going nuts around some of this, which I love as well. Venkman and Winston are getting a huge amounts of love. The only movie that I think really captures some of that, and I wish it was a little bit better, it didn't really do a great job. I wish it was a little bit of a better movie, but Adam Scott and Krampus recently, 2 years ago, did a really good job of capturing some of those horror film styles and just having some comedy thrown in there. So
I agree with that. I mean, have you seen Krampus, Bcon?
No, I haven't.
It's different. Give it a shot. Give it a try.
I like that. It's different.
It's different.
Yeah, Krampus was good. I liked it.
But
I liked the feel. It didn't execute at a high level towards the end there. But we're bringing Krampus into conversation with Ghostbusters, and that's not fair to Krampus. It's not fair to Ghostbusters. So I think with that being said, we are hitting our hour though, man. I think it's that time to kind of wrap this guy up. Our chat room is having a ton of fun. They're also talking about some other things that if you're missing, you don't get to see because you're not here. So we do want to shout out everybody there. Pride in, Red Meatpaw, IC Super, Jack. You guys are fantastic and awesome. And thank you all so much for tuning in. And everybody else who's out there right now that hasn't been chiming in but is watching, we really do appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for stalking us. We love it. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And you know, if you like what you've heard, you know, this smaller quest, this smaller journey we've been on over the last hour, if you really enjoy this, make sure you check out the podcast regularly. It's usually about two episodes a month, depending on what big movies have come out and if we do any spoiler casts. And it's Quest for 100 on iTunes or Stitcher. You can also go to our website, malice-corp.com. There's links there as well. You can also check out the plethora of podcasts that we have, including Malice Corp Smack Talk, which is all about the wrestling. I talked about that earlier. We have Nerd Mosh Pit, which Nick is a big part of, along with Kenny and Matt. And it's an amazing, amazing cast that I look forward to listening to every week. It's one of those things that's on my list. And as soon as it rolls around, I got a new episode, I'm listening to it.
Yep. And new episode, actually 34, just posted today. So go and check out Nerd Mosh Pit, man.
33.
We
also have TV talks. So we have TV talks, and we're going to be returning with, we're going to be talking some Preacher coming up soon. We got Preacher season 3 starting here in 1 week. See lots of great stuff happening this summer. Make sure you check it all out. Again, the website, www.malice-corp.com. Check us out on Twitter at Quest for Movies. You can also follow Malice Corp at Malice Corp. You can follow the cast at MaliceCast. You can follow me at Bcon_Malice Corp here or on PlayStation Network. I'm still playing Monster Hunter, almost at 300 hours, Big Papa Matt. Longest I've ever committed to a video game in my life. And I still love it, and it's great.
You're very welcome for that. And actually, right now, E3 sale, that is $39 on PlayStation Network right now for the original version of Monster Hunter World.
It is worth it. It is worth the money. You will easily put time into that game.
It's an easy way to spend 100+ hours into a video game, and $39 is an absolute steal for it right now. Yes. I highly recommend it.
It will not disappoint.
Yeah. With that being said, Nick, where can we find you, man?
Raider0314 on PlayStation Network and also on Twitter.
Nice. And for me, I'm the Big Papa Matt. You guys can find me on malice-corp.com. You can also find me on Twitter at the Big Papa Matt. You can also follow our other podcast that was not mentioned tonight, Comics for All. It's been a ton of fun. We just got episode 4 out. It should be posted here very shortly as well. We really do appreciate the time and love you guys give us, all the 5-star reviews, everything you send out for us. We really can't tell you how much we appreciate your time. Everybody in the chat room, everybody out there on the internet, hit us up if you want to join any of the conversations. Follow us on Twitter tags that are sitting right here on our screen as well. And lastly, if you want to play any of PlayStation, come beat me up in Overwatch or Monster Hunter or whatever that is. Son of Maku, SONOFMAKU. That's also my Snapchat handle if you want to see me doing terrible things at movie theaters or at conventions. So you're welcome to join me on that as well. So we really do appreciate all the love and feedback, you guys. Thank you so much for the time and everything here on the show. It's been fun taking over. I'm so happy you guys don't like Mess being on there and you guys enjoy us showing up. Hashtag Messed out of the booth, and we'll get you guys running on it. So we do appreciate you guys.
Although don't worry, if you do like him, he'll be back next week. So
yeah.
We love you, Mess. Hope you're having a great night. With that, friends, don't let friends quest alone.
Never, and have a great one.
Peace.
Then let us be rid of it. Once and for all.
It's a dangerous business, Frodo. Going out your door, you step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Think it'll work?
It would take a miracle. Bye-bye.